I'm a primary care physician, and I think about burnout all the time. I'm always cautious to complain about my career as a doctor because I know it's something a lot of people aspire to, and in a lot of ways it is really great. But we can't solve a problem unless we can speak the truth. And the reality is a lot of my friends are struggling, and I struggle sometimes too. I worked with a doctor who I liked, who was burned out, and he was just getting through his days as fast as he could. And his complicated patients bounced off of him and went to someone else because they knew they weren't getting the kind of care they needed. And a lot of people talked a lot of shit about that guy, but I saw him dragging into clinic every day, doing the best he could to show up for people in a system that had just eaten him alive. One day he woke up and he could not get out of bed, just couldn't go into the clinic. And he spent the next month in bed. Could not get out, could not go to work. And they were so desperate for doctors at this company I was working at that they're like, that's fine. You just get better. And as soon as you're better, we need you back here in the grind. And he wanted to get back into it. He's like, okay, I'm going to heal. I'm going to become a doctor again. I'm going to get back into this. I'm going to help people like I dreamed about doing when I started this. And every meeting he had with administration to come up with some sort of system where he could go back and at least see some patients, a light schedule, who knows what, something so he could get back into it. He could not imagine himself doing it. He could not bring himself to do one more patient encounter. This guy worked so hard to become a doctor, and then he worked so hard to be a doctor, and he could not bring himself to see one more patient. And if he had not burned out, he probably had another 25 years of a career in front of him. But here's the really messed up part with all of this. Think about how a burnt out doctor operates. Do they spend a lot of time asking additional questions to patients to try to figure stuff out? No, they're in and out of those rooms so fast. Do they order the additional lab tests to make sure that they're not missing anything? Absolutely not. They want their inbox as small as possible. These doctors are flying through their days. They are seeing patients, getting their notes done, ordering minimal tests, doing the least amount of workup they can, just so that they can be home and be done with this. Do you realize how great that is for the healthcare systems that employ doctors? They have a doctor that's just running on time, flying through patients, and I've seen this. I've seen the burnt out doctors and the patient volumes that administration can put on them because they just want to get in and out. They don't want to talk to anybody. They're not going to push back. They're just going to do as little as they can in each one of those patient visits. And you know what? As a healthcare system, the amount of money you charge for a patient visit when you diagnose them with anxiety or when you do a workup for dysautonomia is about the same.
We should not actually compromise on this department as well, because doctors are there to serve the nation, serve the elder people, serve the senior citizens, serve the children, serve the women. So how they can feel negative about government? They should be relaxed, and they look frustrated. Look at this guy as well. He is looking so much frustrated, and he is telling a whole story. That's strange. Like under President Trump claims a lot of time that America was dead under Biden. What is this? Like everybody is just complaining under President Trump. Even it's the second term of President Trump. So every time Trump blames Biden for every negative thing, former President Obama for every negative thing. But who's gonna criticize President Trump for all these issues that people are facing? Even people are facing inflation. Then doctors, people are just moving to cars due to inflation. They can't pay rent right now, and everything is getting worse.
Realize how good that is for the insurance companies? These burnt out doctors are not spending insurance company money on extra labs and imaging and referrals. They're slapping on quick, easy diagnoses and getting into that next room as fast as possible so that they can get home and get done with their day. And then you realize that a burnt out doctor can be very profitable for a healthcare system. And you realize that a burnt out doctor can also be very profitable for an insurance provider. And you understand, or we have a system that's perfectly designed to get the results that it's currently getting. And you realize the healthcare systems and health insurance companies may not be very motivated to solve this physician burnout crisis.
I want to talk about...
Let's talk about why I left my job as a doctor of physical therapy after 3 years of being in the field. Yes, I am a doctor. Yes, I went to a lot of school, but here we are. Disclaimer before we start, I love physical therapists. I think they do a lot for the healthcare profession. However, the field just wasn't for me. And this is me talking from personal experience. Number one reason why I left: burnout. Nobody in the healthcare field talks about burnout until they're working
The same
in
reason
the healthcare
every doctor who is just leaving, they are saying to the media and everywhere.
field. But when you're shadowing and doing all of that, they always talk about the positives. Nobody ever talks about burnout. Burnout is real in healthcare. For me, I just feel like I had no work-life balance. I would go to work probably like 30 minutes before to review my day. At lunch, you get an hour lunch, but you're always like doing notes, so you're not really on break. At the end of the day, you have to finish up all your notes, and sometimes that can take anywhere from 30 minutes up to an hour, hour and a half, depending on how many evals you had that day. So by the time you get home, it's time to go to bed, wake up, and do it all over again. Also in healthcare, you literally get no days off. I can typically count on one hand like how many holidays I would get off. And I can also count on one hand how
When
many
a
PTO
government is facilitating the doctors, they have enough doctors, then the previous doctors can go to holiday. Like they also need some relaxation. If you are a doctor, you can understand.
days you get within your first year. No sick days. All in all, you're lucky if you get like 10 days off that are paid. That's obviously within usually a first year of a company. Yes, it does build up. However, it's not as good as other professions. On top of that, taking days off is hard because you have a
Yeah.
caseload. So you submit PTO, and that PTO can get denied a lot just because other people in the office are off, or for whatever reason, they can't cover your caseload. On a personal side, I also left because I just had severe anxiety every Sunday before I would go into the work week. Side note, if you have a job and every Sunday you have extreme Sunday scaries, that's not the job for you. Find something else. Another reason, growth. Once you graduate and start working as a physical therapist, there's not a ton of promotions you can get. You're pretty much at the top. Next up is like a director role. However, I also worked a director role. It's a ton more work and you're not really compensated for that work. And lastly, let's address the elephant in the room. Doctors of physical therapy do not make doctor money. And if you make doctor money, you probably own your own business. The cost of school for physical therapy is so high, and the salary of a physical therapist is so low that they do not match out. It literally makes life unaffordable. Overall, bottom line is, like I said, it wasn't for me. That was my experience personally. I'm in a new job now. I've transitioned and I love my job. I hope this video helps people who might be thinking of going into physical therapy, because I know when I was thinking about it, all I saw was the good things. And if you look on Instagram or whatever, all you see is the positives, and no one really tells you the other side of it. You're not only gonna work with athletes.
So I just found out my primary care PA that I used to see has now completely left medicine entirely due to burnout. And now she lives on a farm, raises her kids, and grows her own food and everything, which I think is amazing. But also I'm hearing this more and more of providers trying to leave medicine in some way, or, you know, trying to cut back hours to work less. And it's just sad that it's come to this point where you got into something that you wanted to help people, and now the only way to help yourself is to leave it. But I was just curious, if you are feeling burnt out from medicine, what would you leave and go do instead?
So did you hear the complaints of doctors? Actually, they are frustrated, like because of the workload and tons of work. They are not lazy. Literally, they are not lazy. I hope you are not thinking that they are lazy. That's why they are quitting job. Even they are doing job again. They have just changed their job because a lot of work. They were complaining to the government of USA. They were complaining directly. I have seen a lot of videos. They were complaining to President Trump, like, do something for us. Like, they are saying we can't make a lot of complaints. For the first one is like, we can't make enough money to support ourselves, and everything is not affordable for us. So here comes again affordability. But whenever someone asks from President Trump, there is nothing affordable for Americans right now. He says, no, you are lying, you're from fake news media. Everything is affordable. Everything is affordable. This is what President Trump says. And social media is full of complaints from doctors, from Walmart issues, inflation, mechanics, truck drivers. Everyone is tired. Everyone is frustrated. Who's responsible for this? I mean, is there any organization who can directly send these videos to President Trump so he can see and realize that something isn't right? But he says everything is good, everything is affordable. When everything is affordable, that means Trump supporters are expecting everything at cheaper prices, and they are getting everything on cheaper prices. So have you voted for Trump in a previous election? Are you getting on cheaper prices, everything on cheaper prices? Can you tell me in the comment section? Are you satisfied with President Trump? If you haven't voted for President Trump, what is your opinion? What is your stance? What are your random thoughts from these doctors? And I have made a lot of videos from different people about the inflation, the Walmart prices, and truck drivers. Everyone, they are tired. So after watching this video, what is your opinion? I want to know about your opinion, guys. I request you to click on the red subscribe button because it's very important. I will make more videos. I will tell you the current situation in whole USA. So please click on the red subscribe button. It's also very important. And if you really want to support my channel, click on the join button. You can see the join button right near the subscribe button. I'll bring more important videos for you. Till then, please take care of yourself.